Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for tea time. Today we have some misty morning. So good. Guys, you've been asking me about my teas. I made them for you, so if you would like to pick some up, head over to my website, jcristina.com, or head over to darkmoonteas.com and pick some up. I have Fireside, Misty Morning, Focus. I have a couple that are really good if you're sick. There's something probably for just about everyone. Anyways, go check them out, darkmoonteas.com. So, today, we're going to be talking about consolidation, guys. Consolidation. Do you think that there's going to be consolidation happening in the camera industry as a whole? Now, when I say consolidation, I'm not talking about consolidation whereas companies are going out of business and they're being bought out by the larger companies. Now, that could be the case, guys. That could be the case. But what I'm talking about here is the number of cameras that are being offered by the different manufacturers in the different segments. So, for example, Sony has their Alpha line. They have their APS-C line. They have their full frame line. Well, do we need to have so many full frame cameras that are mirrorless from Sony? We have the A9, the A7, the A7S, the A7R. What do you think? Now, what I want to do is I want to bring up some information that Sony released. Basically, it's a chart with sales. Birth to death, but we haven't got to death as of yet. But let's say birth to today. So 2010 to current. And I want to go over some of these numbers with you and just check them out. I'm going to bring them up on my screen so you can see it. But there is a pattern going on here, guys. There's a pattern, and I think you'll be able to see it. So let's look at this. So as you can see, this is the Sony camera sales in millions. Let me grab my highlighter. Now, we have 2010 here. You can see 24 million cameras were sold in 2010. And as we move through time, we can see 21 million, 17, 11.5, 8.5, 6 million, 4.2, so on and so forth. Now, what are you guys seeing that's interesting here? Well, starting at 2012 at 17 million in sales, there's a halving that's going on. Half the amount of camera sales every 2 years. Look at 2014. So from 2012 to 2014, we have about half the number of camera sales. That's from 17 million all the way down to 8.5. Now look what happens now 2 years later. Now in 2016, once again, we're just about a halving again. 8.5 million, we're down to 4.2 million. Now where the bleed slowed down slightly is from 2016 to 2018. We did not get that drastic halving from 4.2, what we would assume to be 2.1. It actually held up a little bit better. But look what happens in 2019. Even though the bleed has slowed just a bit, we're still down to 2.8 million in 2019. 2.8 million, guys. That is a crazy number. If you just think about the fact that in 2010, they had 24 million cameras sold. 24 million. And now we're down here at 2.8 million. You're looking at 24 million all the way down to 2.8 million. And that's 2019. The thing is here, guys, this does not take into consideration COVID for 2020, does it? Now, let me pull up this other chart real quick. Now this chart shows us quarter by quarter how things have progressed, or digressed is what I should say. And as you can see, this pattern continues. Always fourth quarter is always their worst quarter. You can see them in orange here. Fourth quarter, always the worst. Now, 2019, we see a fourth quarter of 400,000 cameras sold, whereas in fourth quarter in 2010, it's 4.3 million. 4.3 million, 400,000. You see where I'm going with this? Now, like we saw in the last chart, 2019, if we add this all up, it's 2.8 million in camera sales. That's great. Well, if this halving continues, as we saw from 2012 to 2014, from 2014 to 2016, if this halving continues and the slowdown does not, we're most likely going to see 1.4 million. And that would be for 2020, right guys? 2020, 1.4 million. So what would that look like for fourth quarter? Now we know in 2019, fourth quarter sales was 400,000 units. If we took a half of that, we would get to 200,000 units. That would be if it's with normal progression or digression as time goes by. So that's probably not going to be the case. Why? COVID-19 was the case, the pandemic. All right? Whereas we're looking at probably 90% less sales. Who knows what? So even if we have this push into fourth quarter where there's a lot more spending, we're looking at a normal reduction of just about, let's call it half, to 200,000 units. So with COVID, it would be very easy to see Sony only selling, let's call it 150,000 units for fourth quarter. 150,000 units. Now, that's my prediction. Is that going to be the case? I sure hope not. Just think about 150,000 units sold for fourth quarter in comparison to 2010, where there was 4.3 million cameras sold. 150,000 to 4.3 million. Now, if you take this back to 2015, you're looking at about 1 million cameras sold for fourth quarter. Now, in 2020, I'm predicting 150,000, maybe 180,000, which I doubt. I'm going to say 150,000 in fourth quarter. That is a major, major reduction from 1 million to a tenth. Let's call it. I mean, it's horrible, guys. Now, is this only an issue with Sony? Absolutely not. These are across the board problems that are going on. And that's where I want to come full circle. Will there need to be a consolidation? Will Sony need 3, 4, 5 different full frame mirrorless cameras? Is that going to be a need or just simply a want? Or are we going to see Sony and a lot of the other camera manufacturers start putting some of these models together and putting other ones to pasture? Me, not being a mastermind businessman, but just a layfolk looking from the outside in, I'm going to say it would make probably smart business to start consolidating the numbers that you have out there, the number of different units that you have that are similar. Of course, you're going to always want APS-C, you're going to want full frame. Some camera manufacturers like Micro Four Thirds, so they do that. Some like Fuji like medium format, but will we need so many of each? Will there be that consolidation that happens post COVID-19 where there's just not as much buying anymore? People just don't want it. They're not buying them, period. Now, some folks would say, you know, Joe, you probably have this all wrong because as soon as this COVID thing is over and we have some type of antidote out there, we have a vaccination that we're never going to get this again, then things are just going to spike. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I really don't. I think it's going to be a slow grow to the market in general, but a continuingly halving of the camera market because we can see it. It's plain as day. The charts have it. They don't lie. Let me bring up the other chart again. We can see that decline from 2010 of 24 million all the way down to 2.8 million in 2019, which I'm predicting will be lower than 1.4 million for 2020 in total sales, with probably 150,000 to 180,000 in fourth quarter, which is abysmal, abysmal at best. So, like I said, this is not a problem just with Sony. We're just looking at it because Sony came out with these charts and we can look at them and see them year by year by year and how things are going. So once again, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think? Is there going to be this major across the board consolidation And when I say consolidation, we're not talking about camera companies going out of business. We're talking about a consolidation of units, a consolidation of similar units. All right, where we don't need 3, 4, 5, 6 of the same full frame that are just slightly different. We're going to be able to meld some of those together and maybe have 3 full frames or 2 full frames, a budget and a pro, and maybe one in between, let's call it, and that's it. What do you guys think? What do you think? Anyways, guys, I want to say that if you haven't picked up my ebook over at jchristina.com/ebook, go pick it up. 10 tips at making sharper images, great for amateurs as well as professionals. Check it out. Once again, jchristina.com/ebook. Also, we got another batch of these in. Fantastic. I know we sold out of them and you weren't able to get them for at least a week now, but they are back in. We have hundreds, actually have thousands of these back in. These are the Aurora cleaning product. This is the microfiber cleaning cloths. Basically, they kill 99% of all bacteria, 93% of all viruses, and they have an antifungal in there, all right? And if you use them on your phones or your iPads, your tablets, or whatever, they will literally make them look inky black. They come like this. You have a dry and you have a wet. You use your wet first, and then you go over it with the dry. This is not normal microfiber that you see online where they have all the little ridges and edges on them because it's cheap microfiber. This is 2-ply microfiber. Really good stuff. So if you need them, once again, they are back. Got about 1,500, I believe, on our last batch that came in, so they are available. I'm going to honor that 50% discount on these for until this COVID thing is done, all right? 50% off. Use YT50 at checkout over at jchristina.com. That's the only place you'll be able to get the 50% off. You'll also be able to pick these up on Amazon. You can go to B&H Photo and Video. They have them also. It's completely up to you, but we do have that. Use that coupon code if you so desire. So guys, if you enjoyed the content or if you've even gotten this much out of it, just a little, throw me a big thumbs up. That would be stellar, helpful to me and the channel. And don't forget to slam that subscribe button so you can get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon over here, somewhere right around here, so when the content is available, you'll be notified of it. And finally, head over to my website, jchristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. I would really appreciate it. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. TGIF. Have a wonderful weekend. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.